Fordham here. I've been asked to do a refresher course on long division. Now, you might be asking yourself, why am I trying to relearn this 3rd/4th grade skill, and why do I need it? Well, first off, long division's handy if a calculator's not around, but hey, with smartphones, that's pretty much impossible these days. But we're going to need it for the next skill we're going to learn, which is polynomial division with two terms. Now, if you've watched any of my previous videos, you may have seen polynomial division with one term, and you don't actually need this. But when we try to do polynomial division with two terms, we absolutely need this. So what we're going to do is just a quick refresher on how to do long division. So here we have 60 divided by 12. And we're trying to figure out how many times 12 goes into 60. Now, some of you off the top of your head can probably think and say, it's 5. Which is great. I'm glad you can do that. But for the rest of us at home that have to go through the process of doing long division, then you got to think about it a little bit more. So here's how it works. It's very simple. You start off with what you're dividing by, and you see if it goes into the first number. 6. It doesn't. So we'll put a 0 up there. Then you add a 0. Well, we actually already had a 0 here anyway. We're okay. So we're going to do 12 divided by 60. Well, how many times does 12 go into 60? If you have a calculator handy, this part's usually pretty easy to do because usually you'll just kind of multiply until you figure it out. But if you don't have one, what you usually did was you made a table and you just started counting 12, 24, 36, 48, 60, 72. And you looked on your table until you found a number that was just under the number you're looking for. So in this case, I actually found exactly what I'm looking for, which is 60, which happens to be 5 times. So then what we do is we subtract 60, and we're left with 0. So we're done. The answer is 5. And it's very easy to check because all you have to do is 12 times 5. Let's take a look at a bit tougher of an example here. Here we have 8 going into 263, so that'd be 263 divided by 8. So again, just like before, I'm going to see how many times 8 goes into 2, which, go figure, is 0. Awesome. Now I'm going to see how many times 8 goes into 26. Well, what I would probably do, again, if I didn't have a calculator, is I would probably figure out maybe just a little list of the table of 8. So 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, and 64, and we'll slip in 9. And the reason I'm not doing 10 is because if you call for 10, you kind of made a mistake earlier. So 26, the biggest number before going into that would happen to be 3. Okay, so that would be 24. So we're going to go ahead and subtract 24. So 2 minus 2 is 0, and 6 minus 4 is 2. And then what we do is we bring down the 3. So here we go. Now we need to figure out how many times 8 goes into 23 without going over. See, we can't use 24 this time because that's too big. So what we're actually going to do is use 16, which would be 2 times that 8 goes into that. And again, we're going to go ahead and clean that up. So what we're going to do is we're going to clear this. We're going to make that a 1. And that'll become 13. 13 minus 6 is 7. Now, there's 2 ways to approach this at this point. You could either just take the easy way out and say remainder 7 and call it a day. Or you could be more precise and start getting some decimal numbers where we're going to bring down a 0 and see how many times 8 goes into that. So let's see, 64. So we're going to subtract that. So those of you that are playing at home want the real answers. So it would be 32.8. Remainder, so 6. Bring down another 0. So now I got to see how many times it goes into 60, which would be 56. So I'm going to go ahead and put a 7. And that would be a 4. And I think this might be an infinite one. I'm going to do one more just for fun. So then I'm going to see how many times. Let's see, 40. Oh, no, it does end. That worked out pretty nice. So that would be subtract 40, 0. So that answers, and it would be 5. So what's going to be nice is when we do polynomial long division, you just really need, it's going to look more like that. But if you really want it to be like super awesome mathematician, you want that. All right. So I keep talking about this. Maybe I can give you a slight hint of how this is going to work. Well, it's actually pretty easy. So how many times does x go into 4x? Well, if there's 4x's there and there's an x here, all I simply do is say, if I multiply x by 4, that gives me 4x. And I can subtract that away. The problem is, I have to deal with this stupid 4. So now, how many times does x go into 4? It doesn't. So it'll look something like that. But if you want to learn more, you're going to have to watch my polynomial division video on 2 terms. For now, thanks for watching.